name is Dayton Abiola, founder and CEO of Midville Consulting Limited. We have partnered with Best Produce International to bring you this first time ever in Nigeria toss stop. And I'm here with the MD of Global Gap, Dr. Christian Mola. Welcome to Lagos. How has your experience been in Lagos so far?
Well, thank you very much. It's been very good today. It's my first time here in Lagos, in Nigeria, but I see already there's so much passion around food safety, around good agricultural practices.
So now going to good agricultural practices, can you give us in like 5 basic steps what are the standards expected by Global Gap for good agricultural practices? We know it is called Global Good Agricultural Practices. So what are they, like 1, 2, 3, off the top of your head?
Well, good agricultural practices is that what consumers would expect what farmers should do to produce a food that is actually healthy, that is nutritious, and that is also having a good taste. But we focus on food safety, obviously, and sustainability. So a farmer has documented what they've done. They've taken the full responsibility of the product. They take care about it as if they would feed it to their own children. This is what is basically good agricultural practices. And yes, it's based on facts, on science.
Okay, so now taking it back to Nigeria, I understand that we can localize the global good agricultural practice to capture what is obtainable in Nigeria. But does it have to still what's that word again? Comply with the standard that you have set? Or are we going to set our own standard and merge it with what you have?
Well, we have different options how to do that. Number one is agriculture is very unique. It is local. It's national. You have particular customs, you have particular conditions, and also the different languages of farmers. So we need to adapt level. That one global level is the expected food safety, which everyone actually wants to comply with and has to comply with. So what we can do is that we have those what we call national interpretation guidelines. That is the same level as Global Gap, but that is a custom. That's also translated to your customs, the way that's been understood by the farmers, taking into account national legislation, etc. And then there is what we call local gap, but this is more like an entry-level standard. That means that's where you start off, that you don't have to jump the whole loop, which may be some Northern European consumer requirement on certain environmental aspects, that not food safety, but certain environmental aspects that may not immediately to other customers. So you can take that and leave it out for the moment, let the farmers practice the food safety elements first, and then you add the additional points to come to the full global gap.
Okay. Awesome. So now what I now understand is that we take the general standard, bring it back home, localize it to our natural environment as a word obtains without taking out the integrity of the standard. So the integrity is very, very important. So when we have done that, does that mean that we now have attention from the importers and buyers of fresh produce in Europe or from the stores, or how does it work? How do we get to that point of exporting into Europe or exporting to Walmart? How do we get to the point of seeing our product on the shelves of Tesco? How does that work?
Well, first of all, there is a certain customer requirement, and certification is one. It's necessary, but it's not sufficient. Of course, you need to look in logistics. You need to look cool chain, the right varieties and quality specs. Setting that aside, which is not our focus, that needs to be your own requirement, and then also border controls, which are not under Global Gap scope. But if we focus on the Global Gap certification and or the national interpretation, then once you have a certificate, the farmers are registered on the Global Gap database. They have received a Global Gap number, a so-called GGN. With that certificate, all the rules have been complied with, all the audits have been completed. Then a retailer will check before they buy from their supplier whether the farms from which these products come are actually registered in the Global Gap database, and that will give that green light.
Oh, now I get it. So it's very important for producers to be a member of Global Gap, being registered on the database, right?
Well, the membership is meant by once you have a certificate, you are automatically in the system. Because the certification bodies who are issuing those certificates, those are certification bodies that are registered with us, and with their license agreement, they have to register these farms once they issue the certificate in our system. So if you may call it membership, we don't call it membership, we just call it certified and registered in our system.
Oh, okay. So what has this day one been so far? What's your opinion? What are your thoughts about the kind of people you've met, the quality of the participants of this? Is it worth it? Do you think we're ready?
I'm very impressed about the variety of people here, of the different sectors. I'm very optimistic about the passion people have to do something. And the entrepreneurial spirit will be giving that energy to drive this sector forward. What I do see is that there is a small challenge to have more communication among each other, to have more opportunities, more channels of where are solutions, where are problems that can be met with these solutions. So I think there is more cohesion, more collaboration needed. The individual power is there are individual strong ones, but each of them by themselves will be very difficult to do so. I think it needs to be a cluster, it needs to be more collaboration. That means guidance, and for that I'm very optimistic because I see people with the capacity to do that.
Thank you very much, Dr. Mola. It's an amazing time with you today. Ladies and gentlemen, you've heard it all. We're not done yet. This is day one. And we've heard cluster development, we've heard collaboration, we've heard working together as a people rather than achieving as one person. My name is Dayton, Madeville Consulting Limited.